Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel and welcome to this cozy autumnal nighttime routine. So I started off my night by logging off at work, and although it looks quite dark in my room right now, that's because I'm kind of in this nook in the corner of my room that doesn't get a lot of light. But actually it was really sunny outside still and quite warm. It's above seasonal average at around 20 degrees, which is ridiculously warm for October. So I decided, after sitting in my chair at my desk all day, I wanted to get out and get some fresh air and go for a light, easy jog, just to get my body moving, get a little bit of fresh air, see the outside and let my eyes rest from staring at a screen all day long. I decided to keep my pace light and easy because I wasn't super in the mood to run and was a little bit out of energy, and I stopped here and there just to take in the sights because it's a beautiful autumnal day and I love the orange leaves, the yellow leaves, the golden sunlight as the sun was setting. It was just so perfect and fresh, and it really got me in the mood for a cozy autumn. I ran my usual 10k route, but as I've said, kept it nice and easy because I wasn't super full of energy, but I guess going out on a run made me feel good and got those energy levels up. Obviously, I don't go on a run every single night, so this nighttime routine is just one night in my life, and it does vary from night to night, but it just so happens that this was a Thursday night that I'd been sat at my desk all day long and wanted to get out tonight. I usually aim to run about 10k per week, usually more in the summer, but obviously it's winter now, so I am slightly less ambitious with my target, so at least once if I can, twice if it's a good weather day, but obviously sometimes I don't leave the house at all, just keeping it real here. But yeah, usually I try and at least get out, even if it's just on a walk rather than a run, because I'm trying to feel a bit more positive about exercise and make sure I don't feel too cooped up indoors all the time. I actually did bump into my housemate on my way back from my run, which was really nice. We had a little bit of a catch up about our days at work, shared our weekend plans and had a little bit of a laugh, which was really nice. It's nice to just sort of break up your day with company when you've been sat alone all day working from home rather than in the office. And then I headed downstairs into the shower. Do you ever get that feeling when you've just been sat inside all day that you're just desperate to sort of freshen up and shower and feel alive again? Because I kind of had this feeling of I just need to shower to feel awake and myself. So this was actually really refreshing for me, especially after my long, very warm run. For anyone interested, these are the products I use. It's the Garnier Ultimate Blends Honey Treasures shampoo and conditioner. These smell so good. And for my face wash, I use this CeraVe foaming cleanser, which is good for oily skin. After my shower, I headed back upstairs, at which point it was dark outside, so I decided to turn my fairy lights on, which I do every single night throughout the autumn and winter because it just makes me feel so cozy and relaxed, snuggled up indoors when the weather's not so great outside. Next, it was time to brush my hair out. I usually don't dry my hair after I've been in the shower because I usually shower in the evening, so I just let it dry naturally, but I make sure to brush out all of the tatty bits, and then I make sure I've got my parting right, because if I leave it to dry naturally then it will just feel a little bit uncomfortable on my head. So yeah, just take the time to brush my hair. I also use this heat protective spray. I kind of figured I'd be straightening my hair or curling it the next day, so I always like to put a heat protection spray onto my hair when it's slightly damp and brush it through as well. After I'd finished with my hair, it was time to move on to my skincare routine. I've been switching this up a little bit recently, so I've been using the Estee Lauder Advanced Night Repair Drops, which were a gift to me. These are usually very expensive, but they make my skin feel so silky smooth, and it just feels so cooling and refreshing on my skin. And I've also recently ran out of my nighttime moisturizer, so I switched to a new one, which is the Night Cream by Face Theory for I think all skin types, and this smells so good. It's the unscented version, but I just love the smell for some reason. And as a free gift, because I purchased a couple of things from Face Theory, I got a pore reducing toner, which I've also been using after I wash my face. I'm not sure it does anything, but it's nice to receive a free gift. Now this is quite early to be doing my nighttime routine. Usually I would shower a little bit later in the evening and do my skincare just before bed, but obviously because I'd gone on a run, I had a slightly earlier shower and just decided to do my skincare now while my skin felt fresh and clean from the shower and also a little bit dried out and like it really needed that moisturizer. Sorry that my camera is slightly out of focus here. I didn't realise my mirror was in the way of my camera lens, and this always happens when I seem to film doing my makeup or my skincare. The mirror always just gets in the way. I should really check this before I film. I was just letting the drops dry before I put my face moisturiser on. Usually I'd wait a little bit longer, but I think I felt the pressure because the camera was on, so instead I'm doing this weird hand flapping gesture. Sometimes I like to do this step listening to music, or I'll have the news on in the background or some sort of Netflix show, but tonight I was just sitting in the silence, enjoying my own company and my peace and quiet. I had been on back-to-back calls at work, so I think I was just in need of a quiet, relaxing night where I just spent some time on my own and refreshed, because I do have a busy weekend of plans and Halloween parties and meeting friends and going out for dinners, so I do appreciate my nights after work where I can just sit quietly and focus on myself, do things for myself like my skincare, and feel pampered and relaxed. After that, I decided to change into some pyjamas because I was still in my dressing gown from getting out of the shower. And it was actually a really mild night, so even though I've been wearing my fluffy winter pyjamas recently, I only needed a light t-shirt tonight, which is really strange. At this point I was feeling pretty hungry, so I decided to cook dinner. Usually I love cooking for myself and I like to make meals from scratch purely because I enjoy it, and it's a little bit of time spent with myself, for myself in the evenings. But because I'd had a long day at work on back-to-back calls and I was feeling a little bit lazy and I got back from my run, I thought, you know what, a pizza will do the job. Sometimes you just have to go with the easy, convenient route, especially when you're just not in the mood to cook from scratch, and I'd ran out of all of my bulk meals that I'd cooked that weekend. But I guess you can never go wrong with a pizza. I think this pizza was spinach and ricotta if I remember correctly. Maybe mozzarella as well. There was definitely another cheese on there, but I can't remember now. But you guys know I'm vegetarian, so this was just a quick and easy veggie meal. And now to put the pizza in the oven, and while I waited for that to cook, I decided to make an accompanying side salad. I'm still clinging on to my summer recipes, even though we're well into winter now, but I do love a salad, so I got to chopping some of my leftover vegetables. This was also a really good way of just using up what was still left in my fridge from the week. I always like to buy my ingredients based on a set recipe or a set meal plan to try and minimize waste where I can, but sometimes you do get to the end of the week and I finished all of my bulk meals and still have a couple of ingredients left over, so I kind of just looked at what was in my fridge and in my freezer and decided to use that up, which included, you know, the pizza and then lettuce, tomatoes, olives, salad dressing. Oh, and this really tasty garlic mayo that I got from Tesco. It's just Tesco's own brand, but really tasty and highly recommend. And this was just turning into such a comfort food, comfy, cozy, autumnal evening, as I keep saying. At this point in the evening, my housemates usually join me in the kitchen and start cooking their dinners as well. So normally I do have a little bit more of chatting to people through the day, but no one seemed to be in at the minute, which I guess was good for me because it meant I could film undisturbed. I think I would have felt a little bit awkward filming with my housemates in the house. But yeah, usually we kind of cook together, chat together, catch up about the week just gone or the week ahead, and yeah, usually that's a really nice time in the evening where we're all just a little bit relaxed, trying not to talk about work, but it always does come back to work, the evening plans and fun things coming up if possible. I also usually call my mum at this time as well, either whilst I'm cooking or after I've cooked, or even before dinner sometimes, because I'm obviously living in London, my family's all the way back in Newcastle and I don't get to see them that frequently, so it is nice to just call and catch up with my family every day, every other day where I can, even if it's just a 5-minute call to tell them about the mundane things. It just kind of helps me to stop feeling lonely. Obviously it can be lonely being someone young and in their 20s and living so far away from home, but even just touching base for 5 to 10 minutes a day I find boosts my mood, and is something I need to do personally just to feel in good spirits. As I'm looking back at these clips and editing this video, I didn't realise quite how long I took to cut up this salad. Normally it's a lot quicker, but you've got all of the artsy shots, so I hope you appreciate this mini montage of me making my salad. I promise it doesn't normally take me about 30 minutes to make a salad. It was just a super simple salad consisting of lettuce, cherry tomatoes, cucumbers, what else? Olives. I don't know about you guys, but I always hated olives as a kid, and all of a sudden now that I'm older, I absolutely love them and have discovered a passion for olives, which is so silly. But yeah, I find that I'm adding them to all of my salads, wraps. I'm making a lot of Middle Eastern food because I got a cookbook as a gift with Middle Eastern recipes in it, and yeah, really loving olives. So recommend trying them out if you think you hate olives and you're an adult now, because your taste buds might have changed. And then I just top my salad off with this super simple, I think mustard dressing or something, Caesar dressing, I can't remember, but very tasty. And at this point my pizza is ready. I usually don't eat in the kitchen, we have quite a small kitchen in our flat, so instead I usually take my food up to my room and sit at my desk in the corner of my room where I usually work, and I'll usually prop a Netflix show up or put a podcast on or a YouTube video on or call my family, as I've said. But I usually like to take this time to just chill and relax and spend some time on my own. The show I'm watching at the moment is Gilmore Girls. I don't know why I've never watched this show before, because it is just right up my street. It's so my kind of show, but I'd never heard of it. And then I was scrolling on Instagram one day and everyone was saying, it doesn't feel like autumn until I'm sat watching Gilmore Girls again. And I was like, what is this show? So I got it up on Netflix, and I think I've already binged the first 3 seasons in like 2 weeks, because it's one of those comforting shows that you can just put on in the background and just let it play, dip in and out of it. It's kind of background noise for me. Like sometimes if it's a slow day at work or I've just got things to process quietly and I'm not on calls, I will also have this show on in the background. Yeah, it's one of those really comforting shows, as I've said. Oh, and don't let me forget the dips that I added to my dinner. So I went with sriracha, which I love. You guys know I love spicy flavours. So I added that just to spice up my pizza a bit, add a bit more flavour. It wasn't the most flavoursome pizza I've ever had. And again, the garlic mayo. And then back to watching my show and catching up on the day's news. Sorry that it looks super dark in my room right now. I did have my fairy lights on, but as I've said, this corner of my room just always feels ridiculously dark. But I promise I wasn't just, sat in a cupboard. Like, I did actually have some light from my fairy lights. And it isn't as dark as it seems on my camera. After dinner, I did head back down to the kitchen to wash my dishes, but I didn't film any of that because that's the boring bit. And once I'd come back upstairs, I decided to turn down my bed, get ready to hop in for the night. I got this gorgeous honey pumpkin candle from TK Maxx. I'm not normally the type of person to light candles, and I never had candles in the house growing up because my mum was always worried about fires and things. But I have been investing in these small candles with lids recently because I figured they're slightly safer. And this smell is just the most autumnal smell I've ever smelled in my life. I could spend my whole life just smelling candles in the TK Maxx section, but I got this small one just to see if lighting candles was something I would do regularly or if I would use them. And to be honest, throughout autumn and I think probably winter as well, I will spend most of my nights lighting this candle because it makes me feel so relaxed, particularly after a long or stressful day at work. And then I hopped into bed for the night and decided to watch the end of the Gilmore Girls episode I was watching on my iPad. I try not to be on my phone or my iPad too close to bed. As part of my New Year's resolution, it was to reduce my screen time or my time spent on my phone and my iPad and things, which I'm failing at really badly. But I find that if I play on my phone too late into the night, then I will struggle to sleep. So I just wanted to finish off this episode, and then usually I will listen to music, or I'm trying to get into podcasts but struggling slightly, but I will try and listen to something in the dark or just with my fairy lights on so I'm not staring intensely at a screen, or even reading as well. Oh, and I always like to have some kind of green tea or peppermint tea before I go to bed. It's usually peppermint, it's my absolute favourite flavour. I find that it just helps ease my stomach and my bloating after I've had dinner as well. And I do have a couple of sort of exciting wintry cold night flavours in my basket that I'm getting around to now, like spiced winter red. I've got banana bread chai and chili chai, vanilla chai. Oh, and I've also got pumpkin spice, which I usually like to make into a pumpkin spice latte during the day, but I stick to sort of green teas, fruit teas, herbal teas at night, just so it doesn't keep me awake and kind of, yeah, sets my stomach at ease just before bed. At this point, my room was looking super cozy and I was feeling a little bit tired, but I like this slow, easy wind down, so I'm ready to sleep by the time it is lights out. Oh, and don't forget to brush my teeth. I quickly headed back downstairs after my cup of tea just to brush my teeth, swirl my mouthwash, and get ready for bed. What you don't see in this clip is just how long it took me to get the camera to focus on my toothbrush, and then I tried to put the toothpaste on my toothbrush and it fell off and into the sink. The less glamorous sides of my life, but they didn't quite make the cut for this video. Again, at this point, this is when I'd probably usually wash my face or do my skincare routine, but as I've said, I'd already showered slightly earlier that day. Oh, I've just realised looking back at this video footage, I forgot to floss. I always forget to floss. Don't forget to floss, guys. And now we're coming into the last part of my evening routine, which, as I've said, I like to read just to take my eyes off a screen before bed. I'm currently reading, I think it's called Flowers for Algernon. Yes, Flowers for Algernon. And this was a gift given to me by a friend for my birthday last year. I don't really know much about the book or, what it's about, the plot or anything, but it was a nice, chill, easy read just before bed, nothing too heavy. I've struggled to read if I'm reading a really, really dense book just before bed because I don't really want to get into the plot. I just want something easy that I can relax my mind and start to feel sleepy with. And this one felt pretty perfect for that, though I imagine it does discuss heavier sort of themes later on in the book. I'm still quite early on, so I was happy to just get into that and relax for the night with this book. Once I'd finished reading a couple of chapters, I then decided to set my alarm for 7:30 the next day. This is kind of late. I am working from home tomorrow, so didn't need to get up super early, but I like to be an early bird. I'm such a morning person, and when I'm going to the office, I usually get up at 6:30 and leave the house at 7:30, so for me, this was a lie-in. And now it's time to blow out the candles safely and put the lid back on. And then I decided to pop my face mask on and my earbuds in. I can't sleep without them, even though it's completely quiet and completely dark where I sleep. It's just a habit I've gotten into now. I think I've done this since I was a kid, or definitely since I started uni or maybe sixth form, just because it helps me relax a little bit and gets me in the mindset to sleep. And then it was time to switch my fairy lights out and head to bed. Thanks for watching this nighttime routine, guys. I hope you haven't found it too boring. And as I've said, every night does look slightly different. This was just one night in my life. I hope you've enjoyed and enjoy the rest of your week, everybody. Goodbye.